maybe some challenges that we're having, any strategies that we're using, that type of stuff. So we're talking about updates in our action plans today. And then we'll give each other feedback. So we'll listen to the group, we'll give each other some feedback. And there might be some interesting ways we can do that since we have a small group now, some ways in which we can give some feedback creatively, but also critically. And then we'll talk about our next steps. So next topic, next date and time, and next discussion leader. Okay, so I would like to get your approval for the agenda for today. This is supposed to be a collective place, not a place that is pre-directed and just enacted, but a place where we have a voice and a say. So I was thinking that I'm going to hand it over to my colleague in a moment, who's going to be our discussion leader for the day, and that we would look at the list of action plans then together with him leading us. We're going to take a look at the parts of an action plan. You made up the list last time that we met. We'll take a look at that list again just to review our understanding. Then we'll look at the action plan template. And then I don't think we'll go to breakaway rooms because it's a small group, so we could probably just stay within the main group. Let's see, we have how many people now? Well, we do have quite a few people now who have been joining. Maybe we could still go to breakaway rooms. I'll hear what you have to say about that in a moment, because I think it's going to be your choice. And then in breakaway rooms, we'll share our updates about our action plans and our challenges, any challenges that we've had, any achievements that we've had so far. And then we will come back to the main room to share our key updates. And then we'll talk about next steps with our community of practice here. So colleagues, with a show of hands, do you want to agree with this agenda? Do you want to give any suggestions for any changes with it? Maybe Petros, as our discussion leader, could begin the discussion. So today we're having a participant from the group leading the discussions. Okay, so Petros Yosef is from the Ministry of Education in Ethiopia. Petros, would you like to start us off today with maybe getting the group's opinion about this agenda for today, maybe taking some people's responses and then giving your own input on whether we should move forward with this or do anything differently today?
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'm very happy to be the first leader from the friends because I'm here to serve them. Thanks so much. Today, the topic is the progress report. As the program indicates, it's better for us to decide if we agree with what Marian has presented now. Sakala Kelly has raised his hand and here. Is there an idea on what is presented now? Or can we go according to the plan? Am I audible,
Yeah,
Maria?
thank you, Petros.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we can continue the plan because it is just a continuation of what we are doing last time.
Thank you so much. So we can go according to the plan then. So if that's the case, the second decision that we have to make is whether we can present our action plans in the large group or we can go to the breakaway sessions. Which one do you prefer? I think breakaway is good. Anyone against this? So if that's the case, as Marian said, after the 6 weeks, 6 sessions, we had developed our action plans, which is also presented to the community of practice for the feedback. And then we had to get that feedback as well. So it's an important platform for us to interact each other, learn from each other, share ideas, strategies, solutions, innovations from each other. So that I found it very important. This will continue today and the coming sessions as well. So the ways that we're learning in this platform is very interesting because reflections were there, discussions were there, we revisited our action plans. Is all helping us to improve our plans and facilitate the interventions that we are making in our own action plans in our institutions. So having this in mind, can you suggest on the template which we ourselves developed last week, or can we go to the breakout session and present our action plans, the updated action plans for 5 minutes? Which one do you prefer? Is it okay? Can we go this way, Marian? Am I supposed to talk about the template?
Maybe Petros, we can take a quick look at what we talked about last time. Last time they made a list. This is the list that everyone made about what an action plan should have in it. Maybe
So
we can
if
just take a moment, see if people still agree with this list or if they have anything different to say about it. This is what they came up with last time.
yeah, you can comment on this templates that we agreed upon. If there are something that we are going to add, or if there's something relevant for us right now, we can suggest. It's open for you. And
hello, I think we can go over it once more again. Maybe for some of us, due to time, and we were not able to participate fully in the last session. We just go over it once more again, even though I try to develop one action plan, which I intend to share. I don't know if I've been given the opportunity to share it in this session for someone else to look at, or I'll be happy to share that for us to also look at it and then give more insight into it. But I think it's important we look at the checklist once more again and then refresh our minds on it. Thank you. Over.
thank you, Baba. Anyone, in case there's someone who has to add, who have something to add in here, or do you all agree with Kaba's suggestions?
I think it makes sense, makes a lot of sense.
So can we get to the breakout sessions now?
Okay, Petros, it seems like the group consensus is that instead of we go to the breakaway sessions, first we spend a little time looking at the these points of the action plan, and then looking at the template of the action plan so that we can see what we're talking about, and then we go to the break room for the discussion. I think that's the sense I'm getting. But to first take like a quick review of this, or maybe I misunderstood.
Can I go through it?
Yes, please go ahead.
Oh, thanks so much. Last time we agreed that our action plans need to be based on criteria such as the relevance of the actions that we planned, and if the goals, the strategies, and the timeline we set there are clear or not, because the action plan itself is a kind of plan that we are going to implement in our own context, in our office, so relevance matters a lot. If it has indicators to measure, otherwise it is wastage. Plans need to be measured, so we need indicators, we say it. The resources we need to put in place and implement our action plan is also the other indicator. And in case, while we are going to implement this action plan, if we face challenges, the possible challenges need to be identified there with mitigation strategy. So this is what we said. Identifying responsible person for the actions, and then prioritizing tasks is also the other component that our plan need to include, and then clear outputs. What then, after implementing this plan, was also the other concern. This all the actionability of the plan was also the other indication. So having this in mind, we each we can evaluate our action plans and the other action plan, because this is COP where we learn from each other. So based on this checklists, we can get feedback, and we can give feedback to the action plans in place, which are about 7 according to my understanding and my access. So anyone who wants to add in here? Because this is a COP where every team member can talk about. I am here only to facilitate, yes? It's open, anyone can add. Where is Makube? Is Makube in here?
No, Makobe couldn't come today, Petros. He had something else happening.
So what was me? Chakalale, you can supplement. In a
Hello?
COP,
Hello,
yes.
hello, Petros.
Yeah,
Okay.
here is
Bye-bye.
Keba again. Yeah, of course, I looked at the 3 but last point where we identifies responsible persons and their roles in the action plan. So this should this come right in the action plan or in M&E? Because like I'm looking at it, we take with the template, reference to the template that we are given. Maybe I did not look at these action plan points because I did not see this featuring out where identified responsible persons and their role in the action that we are going to take. So maybe this would need some bit of an explanation to me. I find it very interesting and a very good point, but I don't know whether it should come in the money framework, or should we still have it as a relevant action in our plan? Thank you.
Anyone who wants to react to all the issues that is raised by Kaba? Or can I do it? I think someone. Takelele or someone?
No, I don't have anything, Petros.
Okay, thank you. Let me go about it. In the action plan, in the template that Marian and her team gave us, the responsible person is above the table. The name of the person who is going to be responsible for this is in there, but we said having a responsible person in the action plan could matter, because who is going to do this, with whom, using which resource, and all the other criteria together. I think you can get it in the preliminary session of the template. Professional action plan, and then the next row is name of the implementer. That's the responsible person, I think. If I'm clear, otherwise, Mariam could help us.
Yeah, maybe I could just clarify one thing. So these points that we're looking at were rather general points about what makes a strong action plan. The action plan that you have created is about you as the responsible person. So this third to the last point here, the responsible person, generally an action plan, any action plan should specify who the responsible people are for each task. But in this case, your plan is going to be for your own action. So you are the responsible person. Does that make sense? So you don't need to
Yes,
make a
thank you.
plan for other
Yeah,
people.
yeah, I understand. It implies it's yeah, I can see the sense that you are talking from. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. The action point checklist is displayed now that we see on the screen from the participants last time. So I think it agrees with the one provided by UNESCO ECBA. Somehow, yes. Any other group member? Sia?
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I'm back. Well,
Yeah.
so far I think this is fine because the thing about a action plan also, you don't want to make it too cumbersome because
Yeah.
it would guide us. For me, I think that let's leave it like this, and then as we are going. But so far, for me, because now it's smart, it's measurable. You know what next and where we are going. So for me, I think it's self-explanatory. Um, it should guide anybody in the right direction. So for me, yes, I'll say I'm fine with what we have so far. Thank you.
Thanks so much. The essence of the discussion is to understand what it is and how can we go about in our action plans. So thank you, Sia. But the action plans were about 7: Marceleso, Petros, Sekelele, Neo, Makube, Serafino, Angela are all in here because these are the people who have presented their action plans, which is going to be presented right after. Is Marticello in here? No. What about Neo? Makube is not in here. Serafino? I'm counting the people with action plan. Marianne.
Yeah, yeah,
Angela?
yes.
Where is
Can
Angela?
you share this link so that I put my action plan there right now?
Yeah. I didn't see yours, but welcome.
This link, if I can just download my action plan there right now.
So if there are any who didn't submit their action plan yet, as Kaba is doing, you can send us.
Maybe we can take a moment even to look at the action plan template because it's been a little while. Some people may not have seen it recently. So
The initial one, yeah.
colleagues, this is the one that we're referring to. When we talk about the action plan, this is what the document is.
Yes.
Okay. It's actually very simple. It's not complicated. It's not meant to be cumbersome or anything different from your normal work. Okay, so it's just a few columns here, and you don't have to fill in all 3 rows. It's okay to even to fill in 1 row. The idea is to go in depth and to actually do something rather than list a lot of aspirations and ambitions that are complicated or beyond your reach and that may never get done. And I think some of the most, from what I've seen from the action plans in your folder, this folder right here, some of the best action plans I think are the ones that are detailed, but with a small achievable action. Instead of like, you know, conduct a study or something that's very comprehensive. Some of the best plans are just simply like have a meeting with the gender lead in my ministry and take the ideas to them that I've learned and have a discussion with them about how we can work together more closely and integrate gender. You know, so that's an example of one person's plan, you know, to be just to work more closely and with the people who are already working on this issue. So that's an example of something that you can do. Sorry, Petrus, I wanted to just say that some of the plans are the best plans are focused and with a small achievable action rather than a very big aspiration about how to transform their education systems, because that's not really going to be possible with you as one person working this year. You can support something that's already in existence, but doing a big transformation will take some time. But taking baby steps is the first idea. Petros, back over to you.
Thanks so much. Thank you. How do you say it? It's clear. having this template can help us to plan our action plan, which is achievable and realistic as well. So what's the next steps then? Can you go for the presentation of the action plans? I think as there are no many action plans to be presented here, we can make it in the large group, yes, Marianne? Because two of us are in here, including Kaba, 3.
So maybe, Petros, we can ask how many of them have action plans to show today, especially progress in their action plans. We can ask them how many of them want to speak.
You want Sakalekele too? Who else? Kaba?
Yeah, I can present mine so that you look at it together, if that's okay, because I did not submit it on the in the folder. So if that is okay, I wouldn't mind to share mine.
3 people so far. What? Yeah. Okay, who else? Only 3 action plans?
Sekalekele, I think you submitted something, I think recently.
Yeah, that was just an update on what I've done so far and the response from what I did.
Okay, so maybe you can share as well.
Okay.
So Marianne, as you see, there are only 3 action plans.
Yeah. So how many people do we have who want to share an update today about progress and challenges or achievements that they've had in enacting their action plans?
Okay.
Who wants to share an update? I think we have 2 people so far, Keba and Sekalekele
And me too.
and Petros. Now we need some ladies.
Yeah, we're expecting 7 or 8, but only 3. So can they join us later?
Okay, I think for the sake of time, Petros, maybe we can just get started. What do you think? We can just ask them to share in the group, in the main group here, since it's a very small group, rather than going into breakaway rooms, that we can all learn from each other. What do you think?
Are you asking me?
Yes, I'm asking you because you're the discussion leader. Would you like to just have them share in the main room here? We may not have too many presentations. Maybe some people just want to share.
Okaba said here, and I do agree if we can present it to the large plenary so that everyone can comment and give feedback to the 3 action plans. If Sekelekele agrees, because the Sekelekeles and Kabas were not presented last time, yes? So they need our feedback seriously.
No, I was present, Petros, but I didn't.
Only Kaba, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I didn't give my presentation on the action plan.
Oh, sorry. So, Marianne, we can start presenting on the large group.
That's fine, Petros. Over to you. Please take them through these steps and give them, maybe you can give them some feedback as they speak, and then ask the group to then give feedback. What do you think?
Thanks so much. Who want to go first? Let me give them a chance.
Let me try sharing my screen. I don't know if, because I've never done it. Let me see if I can.
Okay.
Is it there?
Yes.
Sure.
Clear enough?
Could you make it bigger? Yes, maybe a little bigger.
How about it now?
It's good.
One more. Oh, okay.
Yeah, how about it now?
Yeah. It's okay. Now we can proceed.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Just as the name suggests, it's a professional action plan integrating the priority gender equity in my work. Like I am the official responsible, that's the Keba Omar Judge, that's my full name. My job description is that I'm the national coordinator. Here, department, I look at it it's like as a coalition because a national education coalition, and my institution is Education for All Campaign Network. The country is the Gambia. So if I reading the tips, identify a few action plans that you can complete in your area for immediate responsibility. Be clear, specific, realistic. A few examples might be holding a meeting with superiors, organizing a specific training, conducting interviews, and with current practitioners. So looking at the action that I want to take, look at the headings in terms of gender responsive actions that we want to take with immediately with the responsibility. I feel that there is one very important thing that I want to do as my organization. That is to develop a position paper. This position paper is going to look at the gaps on gender in our education policy. And I feel that this is a very important action that I can take because now you are developing a position paper. And of course, on the subject of looking at the gaps in the education policy, the gender gaps that are in the education policy. So I feel that if you look at the date, I can say the dates to be completed, like in April 2024, I expect that the position paper would have been ready, and then that would have been drafted, and then maybe due consultation is done so that it is actually ready for submission. I think, how does this action align with your regular work and work plan and duty? Our regular work is like policy advocacy, and it's only not on gender inclusivity, but also talking of gender responsiveness and also gender equity. Those are some of the things that we work on because we advocating for education for all. And so therefore this activity actually, or this action actually aligns with my work as an education advocate that is advocating for access to inclusive, equitable, quality education for all. So what specific gender issue, gender equity issue in your country are you trying to address? I'm trying to address the issue of mainstreaming, gender mainstreaming and equity in education, all right, for the Gambia. Of course, the resource pack, I was trying to look at the resource pack. Or maybe I had some difficulty, but I feel that the diagnostic gender equity, reflecting on the other sessions that we did, I think we diagnosed gender equality inequalities and barriers in education systems in the sub-Saharan Africa. The specific stakeholders that I intend to consult for this action is actually the relevant ministry, that is the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, my network members, that is our members of the coalition, the National Assembly members, because when this position paper is actually ready, we feel that we need to get to the National Assembly or lawmakers to look at the paper. I think their input is also necessary whilst we are developing this position paper. And ultimately, what I feel is that because this position paper will be read or given to the policy review team, they need to actually look at it or have their input before we actually submit or finalize the position paper. The challenge is that we foresee to address this. I think one of the main challenges to mobilize funds to actually develop the paper. And then one thing is that developing the position paper is one thing, but also we need logistics to actually get people together before we can even present the paper. And then the other thing is engaging with potential partners for support, because if we don't, that's the way to address it. We feel that in a way, as a way to address it, we need to engage potential partners that are ready to support in the making sure that our education advocacy for gender equity and equality and mainstreaming is actually being supported. So reflective actions, well, that will come after, we have presented the paper. So sequel to that, developing the position paper is one action, but another action to actually see whether we are able to make an impact or we are able to achieve our aim is to have an engagement with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education and relevant ministries, our members of the National Education Coalition, of course, the National Assembly members, on the position paper for comments and inputs, because at the end of the day, what we are going to do is to present this paper to the Ministry for Inclusion in the education policy. So I still feel that April 2024 is an ideal time for us to do that, because right now, as I am working with very closely with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, I know that right now they are trying to put together the policy, the revised education sector policy 2016-2030. It's just been revised, and I was actively taking part in the revision of from stakeholder consultation to actually where we are today. That's almost at the final stage. So I feel that April 24 would be a good time. Otherwise, we will be left behind. So, and our issues might actually not be captured in the revised policy. So I was also thinking of like specific gender issues, just as above, talking mainly about mainstreaming gender equity in education, and of course, education financing, which is also very, very important to us, because if you look at the gender mainstreaming issues that are coming up, and then there would be a lot of emphasis on trying to get the necessary financing. The share of the education budget as of now is not as expected. So if you want to do serious work on gender mainstreaming and looking at what issues are there in trying to address the gender gaps would require a lot of funding, because there is a funding gap in the education sector. So we feel that that's also very important. Of course, the tool, I think we still need the same diagnostic gender inequalities and barriers in education system in the sub-Saharan Africa. Our people there that main stakeholders are specific, which are the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, the same thing, the National Assembly members, and of course, the policy review team, which is very important. So I think the challenges, I think some of the challenge may be reluctant from the National Assembly members, given that once it becomes a policy, it is incumbent on the state to be able to fund it. So you realize that then they would not have any leeway to, let's say, run away from approving whatever education fund is being requested from the lawmakers, because it is already policy. So they might be reluctant to actually, to fully participate, and of course, giving the implication. So the Ministry of Basic and Secondary to fully accept the policy paper. We feel that, of course, now that the paper is the policy, the revised policy is almost at the finishing stage, they might want to bring in a technicality to say, okay, your disposition paper is coming in right now at the last minute. So they might be reluctant to accept it. Also, looking at the Ministry of Education as a state ministry, looking at the funding gap, they might also want to feel that, okay, why not we try to solve this or play it down or try to pass it to other, stakeholders for them to take care of that, or maybe development partners. So key policy gaps to be highlighted for inclusion. I think one of the, if we are challenged in them having or accepting every aspect of the policy paper, we feel that we can look at one way to look at it is we look at the key policy gaps, and then we say, okay, now you might not take everything, but we feel that these are the key policy gaps, and then which you should try to include in the revised policy. So by that, we mean it's better late than never. Let's have those key ones there. You work on them and then put it in the education policy, drive a budget around it, and then try to support those ones. So this is my submission. Thank you. So over.
Thank you. Thank you, Kaba. It's very interesting. I'm very happy that you came up with such an interesting plan. Anyone who can give feedback to Kaba's plan before I go forward? Let me give the chance to the other participants first. Anyone willing to give Kaba a feedback to improve his action plan? Hello, yes, welcome. Gertrude, yeah. You're welcome. Gertrude, and
yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Actually, for me, I don't have a written work plan because I missed some lessons as I was engaged in many other activities. But I just wanted to inform the colleagues here that I developed a proposal after realizing that our girls fear mathematics, or I can say science-based subjects. I don't know whether I can put it in a work plan as to present it the way people have done. And I developed a proposal on teacher support to improve girls' understanding of understanding and participation in mathematics and science in upper primary in Uganda. But this is a proposal that can be scaled up even in other countries, because I know this is a challenge in many countries. Girls fear science-based subjects, and you may find that it's not because the subjects are hard, but it's because of the way teachers teach them. So teachers need support on how they can deliver mathematics and science to the girl child, especially. Thank you.
No.
It's okay. The chance now. I'm giving. No. Someone is. Kaba, unmute yourself, please.
It's okay.
I'm giving chance. Yeah, I'm giving the chance to give feedback for Kaba. Sakalele. If you have any feedback based on the presentation, you.
Thank you, Petros.
Okay.
Let me acknowledge the presentation by Kaba. It was clear. Let me just dash into my comments. The table, all the columns of the table seem to have been filled. That is, he attempted to fill all the columns for necessary information. That is a good point. Learning from what Kaba is doing, I think this is relevant or aligned to what he's doing, because he's saying he's dealing with policy. If I got that clearly. Does the action plan have clear actions that the Kaba is going to take? According to me, I picked that is going to write a position paper. That is a clear action. He's going to engage relevant stakeholders on once the position paper is is completed and then engage the stakeholders on it. That action also is a clear action. Did he identify the challenges? Yes, he's saying he predicts that there will be a reluctance for relevant stakeholders to accept the position paper. I believe I should stop here so that I will not take too much time. Then I move into what I would suggest Keba can look at. Looking at the cost resources that is going to use. The hint is that we should look into the resources from the resource pack. So looking at what the Keba has written here, I do not see a particular resource is referring to, unless if I'm mistaken, diagnosis. There's a tool called diagnose gender inequalities and barriers in education. If that is the case, that is will be included among the positive things which I see here. If that is not the case, you should go and check the resource pack for specific resources he's going to use while dealing with these actions. Other than that, I will come again if there is anything which I've left. I think I've contributed up to this far. Thank you, Petros.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Any other person?
Yes. This is Sia from Sierra Leone.
Welcome.
Super bro, Jerejef why? Jerejef. I am thankful for Papa, for what he did. I just maybe mine would be a way of adding value to his action plan. I'm speaking to him from the angle of ministry. And that most of the time, what the ministry, because I'm picking up now from his challenges or moving from the stakeholders and the challenges, foreseeing what would happen, that most of the time as ministry, we kind of frown on entities that should be working with us. You go and implement something, and when you hit a hindrance, then you come back to us. But when you get the ministry from the onset, from the point of inception, when you have that idea in mind, because at the end of the day, whatever anybody is doing, you're working towards complementing government's priorities. And that's one of them as being education, as being gender programs and stuff like that. So yes, government welcomes any player who comes on board. But for me, I think that if you're looking at the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary, the National Assembly, because let me give you a case in point for Sierra Leone. Say, for example, an entity wants to do a major program like this. Sometimes, as a ministry, would even work with you and develop a cabinet paper that we would take to cabinet. So it's like, because we are ministry, we are able to jump many hoops that you would find very difficult. So maybe I am just talking to you. If you can first of all find your link within the ministry and float this idea with them, I'm sure that you would not get that kind of reluctance, because then they are already in the know. They know from the onset. So even if there are quarters that will be looking like, what is this? Somebody would be there on their side on the inner caucus of the ministry that can vouch for you and say, no, we were fully informed that they're going to do this, and we want to support them. And it does not just stop there. It also will even go towards funding, because remember, the ministry is the one that works with the local education groups in country. They may even help you and tell you, oh, there's X funding there, there's Y funding there. So mine is a bit wearing the hat of the ministry and just guiding Mr. Kaba where he should go. Once again, thank you very much. And I'm super, super learning everything, something new. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very excellent points. Anyone else who want to go, who want to give comment, or can I go for it? In the COP, everyone talks, because this is a forum where we learn each other. Okay. Sakalekele, are you raising your hand?
Yes,
Maria?
Petros, this is just a follow-up to
Okay.
to what Sia is saying. I would have a question to Keba, whether this is the procedure they are following in the Gambia when they are informing police, because what I've seen, what he's saying, is going to inform police. So my question would be, is this the route they follow when they inform police? If that is yes, then my question would be, does it involve relevant stakeholders from the beginning, all relevant stakeholders from the beginning? So if not, that will be one of the issues that you should address or put in the action plan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. This was also my question. I'll come up with it. Tafari, Tafari, I'm sorry. And then Marian. That's fine. You raised your hand, yes? Unmute yourself and you can go for. That's fine, Tafari. I saw hand is raising. Otherwise, Marian, please. You raised your hand, yes, Marian?
Yes, Tesfaye, were you able to hear us? We were asking you to go first. Give your feedback, Tesfaye.
Unmute yourself, Tesfaye, and you can go for.
He says his phone is having a problem. He's sending me a message. Okay, Tesfaye, if you can hear me, we hope that you can get your phone working. But if you can't, you can just put your comment in the chat box, okay? For everyone to see. You can give some feedback to Keba on his plan. My feedback, I just wanted to just say something very quickly. I'm trying to use the sandwich method. It's a assessment method for giving feedback. You give like a point of praise, like the top, and then a point of like constructive feedback, like the meat in the middle of the sandwich, and then ending with some praise again, like a three-part, feedback. So I want to say that I really appreciate how this action plan shows really the purpose of KIX, knowledge exchange and mobilization. The point of this plan is to develop, identify what are the gaps in education. So the knowledge agenda is very clear here. And I also appreciate how it's working with the different stakeholders. There's a plan to work with these stakeholders from the beginning, like to engage them and to get their sanctioning and their involvement in this action of developing the position paper. So that's something that I really appreciate in this plan. My constructive feedback is I'm wondering if the date is going to work, because it looks like there's some steps that you have to take here. You have to raise some funding, work out the logistics of how the paper will be written, who's going to write it, and etc. And then work through some of the fine tuning of how to engage these partners so that they're not reluctant to support the paper. So it seems like maybe April might be a little bit soon to have this task completed, Did you mean perhaps to have this task started in April? And when do you think you can complete the task, complete this position paper? Maybe sometime in the middle of this year? I'm wondering about your date. And I'm also wondering whether you've taken any steps so far in doing this. So what your current status, I guess, of work towards this is, if you have not begun this yet at all, or if you've begun anything in this. So I'm asking about your date, if April is possible, and also whether you've done any action so far towards this. And then ending with a point of praise, I can see that this is something that matters to you. You've put together a detailed plan, and I think that it's going to go well. And the position paper that you write, we can end up using that actually in the hub, in the KIX hub, maybe sharing it with other countries and having discussions about that paper. So it's promising. That's all I wanted to say. So Keba, maybe over to you, or back to you, Petros, for collecting feedback.
Thank you, Marianne. And many things have been given as a feedback to Keba. I think is constructive. To add some, the activity 1 he's going to do is a position paper. And he said he wants to strengthen gender mainstreaming in the ministry. Is it a default? Is developing a position paper can lead to mainstreaming? Because the position paper is a resource document that might be used by the policymakers, implementers, so for any interest group. So is developing a resource document can help him achieve all the things that he mentioned in the column. The second question is, the second activity he came up with is the engagement issue. Is it after the policy document that engagement is expected, or from he first should engage the stakeholders for their input to understand the very essence of the activity, and then developing the position paper, starting from the people, developing the position paper. Which one should come first? To my mind, he has to consult people, come up with a position paper, or if not, he develops the position paper and give awareness to all the concerned people. So it seems the work is very good, but needs some improvement in this regard. So you can go reflect, Kaba. You can go and reflect.
Should I come in now? Thank you very much. Appreciated all the comments. And of course, some of the questions being asked for clarification. Yeah, just as Marian was able to quickly pick it up, that of course stakeholders were involved. Let me quickly say that this is part of an ongoing work that we are doing. Like in the presentation, I said the organization or the coalition was active in the policy review. This is a policy document that was reviewed some 2-3 months ago, and then we were part and parcel of that policy review. And as part of an ongoing work, we at some point at Evanet, the coalition, we brought members together to look at the whole education sector policy document with the view of looking at some of the gaps that are in the education policy document. So, and we actually spotted that some of the gaps around disability or inclusion stood out. But during the policy consultation, we realized that some of those gaps were also picked up by other members, and they were kind of captured in the education policy paper.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello?
There is one more comment, please.
Okay.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, colleagues. Sorry for the microphone. It was dysfunctional. In fact, I appreciate for the presentation which has been done by my colleague, but what I would like to add is it might be also good if it is evidence supported. Just before you go to advocate for policy development or for gender responsive strategy development and so forth. Usually, if we consider, for instance, ecological approach in policy development, unless we clearly understand the social norms which are existing at the community level, just being discussed at a higher level might not be as such quite significant in terms of unless it's supported with evidence generation. I mean, yeah, so this is what I would like to say. It should be supported with evidence before you go or develop, even engage other stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you, Tasfaya. First engage all the stakeholders and then position paper. You can go, Kaba, now. Thank you, Tasfaya.
Okay, thank you very
Welcome.
much. I appreciate it very well. That we are an evidence-based advocacy group. We don't advocate without looking at making studies or researches on some of the issues that we advocate for. Currently, there is, if you are following the Gambia, there is this call by from the National Assembly members to repeal the FGM law, that is the female genital mutilation and cutting law, which is currently in the Gambia, and some practitioners were, they were taken to court and fined, which was a good plus. But right now, some opposition members are calling for the repeal of those laws, which is a current hot debate in the country. But we stand by the policy of harm no one, protect the right of the girl child. So, and which is to say we are actually in for the law that actually punish anybody that can does or conduct female genital mutilation or cutting. So like he said, the position paper is very important. Before we do the position paper, we have to do the consultation, which we did. We did a lot of consultation, and then it's like a work in progress. It's not, we are not starting afresh. It's like, if you look at the plan, it's telling us what you are doing currently or what it relates to what you're doing. So this is a real work plan that I have submitted. And then I've gone to a level where I engage the Global Campaign for Education, and they are able to support with a small grant in the drafting of the position paper. So that is there, and then part of some engagements. And then, of course, also coming to the idea of having ministry officials like my sister from Sierra Leone, Nangadev Baja Sijama. So let me use that vernacular. Thank you very much for that. And we are able to make sure we get a strong link, because the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Education is a close ally. We try to actually bring let's say all the relevant stakeholders on our side, because we are advocating for education, and all our advocacy effort is towards bettering the policy. So by that way, we are trying to say, how do we get influencers to be on our side, particularly to do the ministries that we are working with. So I think that's a very good thing. Let me just say again that the consultation have been ongoing. And then, like he said, like somebody said, and I think it's Marianne, we appreciate the praises and the constructive feedback that you have given. Steps taken so far. We are aware that the policy team is currently busy on trying to put the policy paper together. That's the education sector policy together. So our position paper, if it comes after April, they might actually, wrap up, before they go for the validation. So there are two options. Either we have it while they are wrapping up the final draft for the validation, or we still, present it during the validation. The ministry is currently thinking of having it sometime in April or May. So maybe we can, of course, try to look at our timing to adjust it to April, where we will do the final presentation. But by and large, the contributions and observations are very welcoming, and we appreciate the community of practice in giving us the feedback. But notwithstanding, we still have to share it to the main page for others who might not be here to also give their inputs into our presentation. Thank you very much. Over.
Thank you, Kaba, for accepting the feedbacks. You raised a very important point because policy strategies, position papers could help the implementation down to the grassroots level. So considering the feedbacks, I think, and I hope you can improve the action plan, and then you can help your system, your country's education system. I thank you very much. The second presenter will be Takelekele, I think, if he's ready. Marianne, do you have anything to say?
No, I think it's fine, I think it's fine, Petros. I think Keba had some good explanations. I think it's fine to continue. Please, Petros, go ahead with your next participant.
Takelekele, please. Unmute yourself, Takelekele, if you are here. Yeah, thank you. Unmute yourself.
Okay. Thank you very much, Petros. Is it legible? Do you see?
I see. Yeah, I can see.
Okay. Let me start. Thank you very much, Petros, for this opportunity to present my action plan. Let me say my name is Kelekele Hekwa. I'm working as a subject specialist. I review, design, and develop science curriculum. So the action plan is to integrate and prioritize gender equity in science curriculum design and development. So this is in line with what I'm doing in a normal day. I'm working at the National Curriculum Development Center. So let us move straight into the table. I hope it is still visible. The gender responsive action that I selected is to collaborate with the gender unit to organize a sensitization session on gender issues for the curriculum development. So what I would like to do is to make the members of my department aware of gender issues, especially how to integrate and prioritize gender equity in the curricula. The arrangement in our country is that gender issues are done or are housed in a different ministry, not in the education ministry. So for that purpose, I will work with the Ministry of Gender. That is the ones that I'm going to coordinate with. So the days which I thought I will be able to do this in February and March. I will come to that when I go to update the original plan. So in the third column, I'm just indicating that this is my normal day-to-day work of designing and developing curriculum, but not necessarily incorporating gender issues. So after attending this course, I've realized that there is a gap with gender issues in this work which I'm doing to incorporate gender or make the curriculum gender responsive. So I'm addressing that by this first step. Column number 4, what specific gender issues in your country are you addressing? I'm addressing the issue that gender is not mainstreamed. Also, the work of the Ministry of Education and the work of the Ministry of Gender are not yet coordinated on this issue. So I will be functioning as a coordinator between the two ministries so that we can work on this issue. The specific tools that I'm going to consult, one of them is a glossary. So I will be using, in this sensitization session, I'll be using this glossary so that people can understand what these terms mean. And then if they understand what they mean, then they will be able to use them when we refer to the curriculum integration and prioritization. Also, there is a guidance for developing gender responsive education sector plans. I believe I will consult that as well. And then there is another a tool that is called Gender Equality in Education Toolkit. If that is relevant, I will consult it as well. Column number 6, specific stakeholders that I will need to consult are the directors in these ministries, so that I can get the permission to hold this session. The challenges that I foresee while I was drawing this plan, the availability of matching times for holding this session between these two ministries. Because normally people draw their calendars based on their agenda. So when you want to get the permission, that may take a long time for approval to be there. The last column I will fill as I go along. For example, I've already filled it down here. I've already requested the approval in writing, as I've already said. And then in my request, I've already put the tentative dates, but the request was responded to. And then the request, the response shows that already they have a calendar that clashes with what I was proposing. So they suggested a tentative dates to be after the 26th of March. So we have to meet with somebody who is assigned to this task so that we can make arrangements and logistics for holding this session. The positive thing about this thing is that they see the need to collaborate, but they are saying the times do not match with what I have proposed. So they are proposing a later date than the one I was proposing, meaning that I have to adjust my timeline for this session. Having said this, I believe I've presented my action plan. already I have comments from Marian. She was asking for some clarification about the statement I've made with this, and then I responded, maybe she will say whether my responses were clear enough. Thank you very much, Petros, for this opportunity. I will gladly listen to the comments and feedback from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sakela Kelly. And as usual, you can comment to his plans. The comments will help him improve his action plan so that he can implement it back home. I mean, in his workplace. So it's open. Anyone who want to give feedback. Anyone? Until you come up with something to add to his action plan, let me say something. Sakela Kelly, you said sensitization is an issue that you are going to address to maximize the essence of mainstreaming across your ministries in your country. And the reason for this, you say it is creating understanding to the people out there. Is it lack of understanding or because of commitment? Because in my country, everyone talks about this issue, but still the issue of gender equity, gender mainstreaming, and other issues are in question. We are not addressing them well because we are not committed. Leaders are not committed. The system is not committed to work on gender sensitive issues. Is yours an issue of understanding? You can reflect until the others are ready to give feedback. Hello, anyone there? Sakela Kelly.
Yes, Petros. Do you want me to?
Yeah, I think so.
To respond to what you're asking?
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, I'm saying
okay.
the gender issue is taken care of by a different ministry from the Ministry of Education in our case. So when you want to incorporate it into the curriculum is done in the Ministry of Education. So we are not incorporating gender into our packages, curriculum packages. So what I'm saying is that we are going to sensitize the curriculum developers on gender issue, using resources from the Ministry of Gender, people who are dealing with gender issues on their daily jobs. When these curriculum developers are capacitated or empowered with the gender knowledge, then they can be able to incorporate it into our curriculum packages. That is what I'm saying. So the first step is to sensitize them, to make them aware of this issue before you can say they handle it in the curriculum packages.
Thanks so much. I understand now. You have gap to work collaboratively with the other ministry, so you want to synthesize the issue of gender. Thanks so much. Anyone who wants to give? Sia or Anne? Anyone? Kaba? Malshoene? Opiemi? Anyone among this? That's again. Umzele, these all are here. You can comment.
Yeah, I think, thank you very much. And I just want to thank him very much for Sekere, for I think it's also a very good action plan. And just wanted to be clear, I know the gender issue, I'm just coming back to the same statement, that is to see, because you are lamenting the issue of the curriculum on gender, not the responsibility of the Ministry of Education, rather it's with the gender ministry. So for me, I don't know how it looks like, but like countries differ. Anytime our government or ministry is working on gender, we feel that that collaboration and teamwork is always there, where every ministry would invite your colleague ministries to be able to look at the curriculum together, especially when it affects a relevant ministry in terms of the work. But I think, of course, it's a challenge. And how do you intend to address that? Because rather than having, to train, curriculum developers, why not try to engage the ministry from the onset, from the policy development stage, so that it becomes the national policy rather than the ministry policy. So that is my take. I think it's a good observation. And since you have highlighted, it shows that there is a way that you will be able to address it rather than only involving, training curriculum developers. So thank you very much. I think it's a good plan. Thank you. That's my observation.
Thank you, Kaba. Thanks so much. Who else can give feedback to Chakelekele? Sia Aruze. Appreciation is also a feedback, isn't it? Marianne, do you have any?
Yes, Petros, I just want to acknowledge Sekele progress in his plan. So the last time, as you can see, I left some comments on it. Now I see that he has made some progress in finding a tentative date for this sensitization session as of March 26th. So this is exactly the kind of meeting I was hoping we could have today, is to talk about the progress that we've had. So he's made some progress in finding a date. Maybe by the time we have our next meeting, he can give updates on the effects of that meeting. Excuse me. Excuse me. The next time we have a meeting, it'll be after March 26th. So maybe you can give some updates about how the meeting went, who you engaged, some, I guess if you had like any successes in having that session, and any challenges or any points that people raised, because it's probably going to be the first, I would think the first of several sessions that you might have to have on this topic. So maybe next time we meet, Sekele, you can give us updates on how that meeting went on March 26th. Does that sound feasible to you?
Makelekele, you can react.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you very much. Let me clarify, Marian, it's after 26, not on the 26, after the 26. I still have to meet the officers so that we fix the dates after the 26.
Oh, okay, I see. So after the 26th of March.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, but at least you're getting some concrete dates now. See, when we talk about action plans, they're not meant to be aspirations for what we'd like for to see in our country. They're meant to be simple steps that we will take, and documenting when we'll take them, what it will look like, who we'll talk with. You know, it's meant to be practical and simple. So the fact that you're identifying dates now shows some progress towards your action plan. So that is to be appreciated. So hopefully you'll get a date soon, after the 26th of March, and then by the time we have our next meeting, hopefully you'll give us an update on what the date will be, and maybe even having had the session on the sensitization session for the curriculum developers. So I just want to appreciate the fact that you've made some progress in some initial steps in enacting your plan. That's all from my side, Petros. Maybe we can ask others to go. We also have only 15 minutes left, Petros, so maybe if others have updates to share in their action plans. The idea is to share updates, not to reshare the plan again, because we had that at the last meeting. So Petros,
Yeah,
over to you.
Okay, thank you, Mariam. Anyone who want to share an update? Anyone from the group who want to share an update? Hello, Mariam? I can't see anyone who's ready to share. Please welcome anyone. So if there is no one, can I do it, Mariam?
Yes, please, Petros. But I'm surprised at the lack of female voice in this space. I'm really surprised by that because you know we're trying to aim for gender, at least gender parity, you know, in equal numbers of men and women, you know, and girls and boys in our systems, but gender equity. So it'd be really great to have some more female voice in the meeting and in the general space that we have here, because usually it's we have some very involved, very active, very brilliant gentlemen who are leading the space now. So we need to have more female voice, more female leadership in this space too.
Sure, I do agree. Please welcome anyone interested. Please.
You know, we have Pumzale here, we
If
have
there's
Sia, you know, there's Anne Gachoya.
Yeah. Sarah?
Yes, Sarah.
Is Sarah there?
No, I think she must have dropped off. But
Yeah.
let's see if
Yeah.
they have anything to share, any updates. If not, Petros, then you can, of course, share your updates.
Yeah. It's an activity, of course. Mine is one.
Mhm.
Let's make it next session then. We will expect many females to be present here in the next session, if not today.
Petros, go ahead, please. We only have about 15 minutes left. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. As you may know, mine was consultative meeting, skill training for expertise, and finally gender audit. The first action that I planned to work on was a consultative meeting. I did that. My plan was to engage 40 people who are decision makers, who are very important in relation to bringing more female school leaders to leadership position. And the achievement was 28. I was planning to involve HR people, gender unit, regional education bureau personnel, those all people. But in addition to this, I thought, and I discussed with my leaders, my CEO, that academicians are very important because they are the one who can equip the women and the other people in attitude of gender balance. So some academicians were also involved. And the funding I was proposing for this task was from the Ministry of Education and from the NGOs. Unfortunately, NGOs were busy in planning the New Year's plan, and I used MOS fund to have the consultative meeting. It was very fascinating. Everyone was motivated in the meeting. The strategy was presented, and based on that, after organizing a report from the consultative meeting and having my plan, I talked to the bosses, my bosses. They were very passionate because it was our plan to move to have many female teachers in the system. So whenever a budget is secured, they gave us a huge amount of money, which is about 650,000 USD, which is to be committed for attracting these female leaders to the leadership position. So the strategy is going to be, fortunately, we have got this budget. The strategy is going to be implemented, cascading into different documents, recruitment, selection, reward policies are going to be developed based on our discussion by having this money. And then the other core activity we planned by discussing with the leaders is female networking, PLCs, professional learning communities in different regions in schools were trained to be given to local leaders to facilitate this, and then coaching, mentoring material to help aspiring female leaders to come to positions, and in scale trainings were planned because of the finance that we get and because of the enthusiasm, the motivation that I personally get, and because of the willingness of the leaders. And then the other activity is research, where barriers are going to be researched to act according to the research recommendations, because the barriers are, some are systemic, some are related to the females themselves, personal, and some others are work environment related, but this needs to be researched as well. So having this initiation and the willingness of the leaders, I am very motivated to move the action plans forward. The training is already to be supported by the ministry based on the budget that we secured. And the last activity that is remained to be my very task, my own personal task, is the gender audit. I think I will think over it. I will mobilize resource. I will establish a mini team in the ministry. For sure, all the three activities will be performed, achieved accordingly. And one of the comments, the feedback that my boss gave me is that it is so huge to manage by an individual expert in the ministry. And this is given, of course, by the forum members last session. But unfortunately, it's fortunate, of course. We got the budget and it is going accordingly. I'm very happy that the plan is going to be implemented as it is stated in the action plan. Thank you, Marianne. Thank you. This is it. Any comment, you're welcome. Anyone who wants to give me comments? Because bringing more female leaders to the system, we believe, is working to reverse the quality problems that we have in the education system, especially for females, because females want to express their problems to the female teachers, the female leaders, so that if problems are exposed, they will be solved. This is the very important issue that we are planning to work on. Females can bring change. It's not for the sake of talking and planning that we are here, but to bring change to the system for the future generation of females, because they will get more support from female leaders than male leaders because of certain factors. Over to you, please. Anyone who wants to.
There's a hand up from Sekalakali.
Oh,
He has a
Sekalakali.
point.
I saw him, yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you, Petros, for the presentation. You have updated us on the progress on your original plan. Based on what I'm listening, you say that the activities are going according to what you have planned, and then are there any challenges that you have met? I didn't get the challenges that you anticipated, but the good thing that you are talking about is that you are going to see your plan up to the finality, because you are talking about the last activity you're going to do. You
Sure.
emphasize that you got the budget as well.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I want you to clarify whether the plan is going according to what you put forward, or there are any challenges.
Okay, thank you. I will react on this. If anyone else has a comment, question to be cleared. If that's the case, thank you,
Petros,
Sekelekele. Okay, Maria. Okay.
Oh, sorry, Petros. I think it's just a chance to use your example to highlight for everybody. Hope you can see my screen. So what you've said, Petros, is actually really, really it's encouraging to see knowledge mobilization. So that's the whole point of the project, is that people do something because of the knowledge that we gain and we learn from each other, that we do something with what we've learned. We don't just keep it inside of us, but we do something with it. So you've had this consultative meeting now. You've gotten feedback from your colleagues. Could you now do the last thing here, which is the reflection on what you've done? So that way it's documented, and that you've done the action. That's important for our recording, so that we know who has done what in this community space, and that everyone can see each other's work as well. So on this is the action plan that you submitted. It's in the folder. The last column here says to a short reflection on how it went for you, the activity. Could you quickly summarize, maybe in just 2 sentences, what you've told us today in this group, maybe later on today, before maybe you forget some of the details, and just put it into this last column about how this went for you, maybe what you learned from having this meeting, and sort of your success. Document your own success so that we can then report on your success as something that we can record, because it's quite exciting that you've actually done your first step now. You've had that meeting. So this is the column to fill up, the last column here, and that goes for everyone too. When you take a step, when you work towards your action plan, please do make a record of it here in the last column. And everyone's plan is in this folder here. So you can just do it there. You don't have to send an email attachment. Petros, is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Can I read it? I failed to send it, but I did record it. Can I read it from here? I say 28 experts from higher education, gender education, general education, and so on. And from universities with the intention that they synthesize female leadership issues. And then not any NGOs are involved because of the very fact I told you. And then 70% achievement. These all things are written in there. I will send you later on.
Okay.
My problem is I didn't send it, but I did record it. And then to Sekelekele's question, my biggest challenges were 2. The first one was we are overscheduled in the ministry here in Ethiopia because we are in education poverty. According to the World Bank, we have a lot of things to do. And we are reforming our education system. There are many activities to be done. So the leaders are overscheduled. We are overscheduled. So schedule is one. The second is many activities compete for funding, budget. So I have to convince my leaders so that they can relocate. And the budget that's at hand, that's from the donors. So this money, 650,000 USD, is from a donor. And then if not, I convince the leader there are so many activities competing for. So these are the two challenges: competing for fund, being over schedule. Thank you, Secretary. So can we go to the, is there any comment, question? No? If that's the case, we can move to the second session, yeah? I think it's Marianne's presentation, yes?
Yes, Petros, I think we're just about done. Does anybody else have any update in your action plan or any challenge that you might face that you want to talk about here today, maybe for some group advice? Remember that we're trying to enact some action that will increase the prioritization of gender in our work. Maybe you have to be a champion, an advocate for the issue. If, say, your ministry doesn't appreciate the challenge or doesn't recognize it or thinks that it's not much of a priority, maybe you have to be the champion and tell them, maybe using some of the course resources, why it matters, how it's an issue. So any updates, anyone?
Just talking.
Is that Ephraim? Is that Ephraim?
Okay. Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, thank you. I come to actually attend the meeting very late because I was in another meeting. I did not really capture well what you have presented before. But based on the topic that I have seen, yeah, I have met actually the same issue here in Rwanda, and fortunately I met a grant from Rwanda Bank Association, where I prepared my paper and presented it to the Rwanda Bank Association. I was based on the issue of gender equity, because the last reconnaissance that happened in Rwanda in August last year demonstrated that the number of women is greater than the number of men, and then based on the development that Rwanda want to access, the development which does not leave anyone behind. And yeah, I prepared my paper based on that. And also what I can tell you, the thing that pushed me to work on that paper is that even though we have the number of women which is greater than the number of men, the labor force in Rwanda shows that 500,000 of men, the number of labor force in terms of gender, we have 500,000 women who the number of workers in Rwanda, if you compare women and the men, the man is greater than 500,000 comparable to the number of women labor force. Yeah, you see that there is a big number of women, but many of them do not work, and many of them are located in a rural area. That's the reason that I prepared a concept paper, which has been accepted. Actually, it was among 5 first. And then I will present it in May in front of all banks in Rwanda, and then it will be a kind of orienting the way the funds of developing will be shared, if I can say, will be used, especially in rural area, to ensure that those women who do not access to the work actually get finance from those banks. Meaning that those banks will be then asked. I will be calling those banks then to use their funds, especially in rural sector, to meet those women, to ensure that also those women also participate in the development activity of the country. You have also seen that you have also many different people who live with disability, and also those are two main parts of the person that I wanted to work on. Especially those people with disability also have to be trained and play their role in the development then of the country. Then as long as we are now preparing the NST1 National Strategy for Transformation, and which will be then taking 5 upcoming years, then I wish also to ensure that the NST2, which is being prepared, also concerns will be concerned. Will be concerning then those people who live in the countryside, in the rural area of, especially those women, as long as there are many who do not have, there are many, but less of them has job. Then I was looking how then they can access to funds, especially using mobile banking, how they can be trained using mobile technologies in a rural area, because in Rwanda we have good internet which works in a rural area. Then they can be then helped to they can be given money to be used in their cooperatives, so that also during the payment the payment for the bank, there will be the digital literacy, the digital divide will decrease, because they'll be using technologies like mobile money then to pay the banks. On the other side, the banks also will get the income from them at the same for those women also getting also the interest and the money then from them, the money they will be given as funds. Yeah, that's the concept paper I have prepared, then that I will also present in front of the managers of banks, and also they will be having different banks from Rwanda and others from Kenya. Yeah. Thank you. I want to share a little of that because I was actually, even though I have come late, I was really understanding what you were dealing with during your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ephraim. Thank you for the presentation, and we hope you will send the action plan to the platform so that we can give detailed comments later on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Some other one has come also, Marianne. I don't know his name. Let me see. Anyone who wants to share? Maybe John? Do you want to share your action plan very shortly because of time? So, John, can you hear us? Otherwise, Marianne, you can present yours, isn't it? There is a presentation by you, and then we will select the next leader. Redefining a community of practice. Yeah.
Yes, Petros, and I want to thank Ephraim for the I don't know what the right word is, maybe the passion, the information, the prior knowledge that he has about this issue and what he just brought to this his points. Somehow I got the sense that from you, Ephraim, that you're really aware of the situation of gender parity and equality in the topics that you study, and that you're going to see through till the end. You know, with your presentation in May, you want to see that the issue gets addressed and even resolved. I think I would just maybe echo Petros, and that I would encourage you to, if you can submit an action plan to us to detail what that action is that you're going to take, such as that presentation that you'll give in May, and kind of think through with the action plan how you think it's going to go, any challenges that you might be predicting, and then when you actually give it, then you can present back to this group about how it went. So the template is available to you, and I'm going to share it on this chat as well right now, so you can see it again. But other than that, I think that this is the last chance for anybody who wants to share any updates. So we have John who's here, Pumzale, Sia, who has joined rather recently, Anne who's here, and Gachoya from Kenya, Tesfaye. Does anyone want to share any updates before we start to close for the day and pick the topic for the next meeting?
Thank you, Marianne. This is here again. I'm really sorry for coming, but when I look at what has been said, even though I did not prepare a plan, but then as a ministry, what we have done is to align our work with the priority of government. And recently, our government has been very, very determined about promoting the affairs of women by having a GIWI Act. For the first time, we have now a Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Act. And one of the mandates or the recommendations of this act is to have gender focal points in all our ministries, departments, and agencies, and for which I am that. And these focal points should be the directors or managers, planning managers. But as a ministry, also, we've taken it a step further in promoting STEM. So now we have a policy that says when we are given the grant, the national grant for higher education. So that's the funding that the government grant that is given, that there is a quota for women in STEM. So we don't do STEM, we don't do STEM again, we do STEM. We've added the A for agriculture. So automatically you're a woman and you are in these fields, as long as you've registered, you've gone through the interview session, you're sure of being given that one. And so that is something that we're really happy about. And also, we are now encouraging my colleague who's the director of science. We've revived the Science and Technology Council. So now, based on that, also, we're really pushing to see more women in the sciences, more women having science clubs, pushing also to see science subjects being taught from the basic level. So we are working closely, and because we produce the teacher for the schools, so we are also pushing to see that, because most of the time when we have engagement with teachers, with subject experts, we see that in the sciences, it's very difficult to come across women in the science subjects, being the lecturers or teaching. So now what we are doing, we are being very, very adamant, or we are being very deliberate as to going out there and promoting it, and to see that we have more women. Because I'm sorry, gentlemen, but believe me, when you have a woman at the helm of things, it's done properly. And because you don't just come there to work, but you bring that nurturing skill as a woman, as a mother, you bring it with you and you take it along. Because most of the time what happened at the preschool level, you see a lot of women, but then when we start going into the elementary angle, you start seeing that the women are phasing out, and especially now going up to the higher side. But we want to change that narrative to make sure that the women stay on all the levels. So from preschool, they don't fade out, but they work with the kids and we enter there. So these are some of the things we're doing. When you talk about the sustainability aspect of it, well, as government, we have a lot of development partners that we work with. And also, because gender issues are not just a singular issue or just a small issue, but it's a global issue. So even the development partners that we work with, they're also supporting us, because that is also another line. And because we are now talking about foundational learning, so these are things that we want to also work with. About challenges, obviously, we are sure we are going to have challenges, because you're working with people, you're working with timelines. Recently, we had a coup d'etat. These are the kind of things that can impede your timelines, that can throw a spanner in the works. we had COVID automatically shut education down. So sometimes also you have unforeseen challenges that can mitigate against what you're doing. But notwithstanding, we are very, very adamant. That's the reason why now we have the ODL policy, which is the distance learning policy. So we have a lot of teacher training that is happening also through distance learning. So now we are using even technology to help us with learning. So yes, we are pushing the funding. We are sure that we'll get it, and we are also including now some of this activity into our own ministry budget. So when we do a budgetary request for the ministry, we include some of these activities there for the sustainability side of things. So in a nutshell, that's what I wanted to update on from Sierra Leone. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A point, Marianne. My last advice to the COP members is that what is the thing that we are going to do? And then we have to seriously look into the checklist indicators. Do you have clear indicator? Is it achievable? Is it relevant to the ministry? Specificity? And is it actionable? These all things need to be well identified, including the challenge. Because at the end of the day, we don't have to be satisfied by the results that we are going to achieve. So we have to be very specific, clear, and we have the things need to be under our own jurisdiction to achieve them. So having this in mind, I hope we can improve our action plans. And then for March 26, as proposed, our action plan will be the best plan that will guide us to implement our actions. Saying this, Marianne, you can continue to your presentations. Thank you.
Well said, Petros. Colleagues, I'm looking at the time now. We don't want to keep you too long because we've already lost some people who've had to drop off. So the idea is now to pick a topic for our next discussion, and also a discussion leader too. So I'm going to share my screen and just share this.
Yeah.
Hope you can see. So I think today has been really successful in that we had a participant, Petros, leading the session, and I just want to thank you, Petros, for the excellent curating of the space today. So just a little applause for you. I think you did a great job. Thank you, and maybe you'll do it again soon. So last time you all agreed that Petros would be the leader for today. Now, I think, Petros, would you like to then try to get a discussion leader for next time? I don't want to take over the space. You still can conclude this meeting. So if you want to gather from the group and decide on the topic for the next session, date and time, and then discussion leader. So Petros, over to you.
Thank you so much. Participants, please, you can comment. What will be the topic of the next session, do you think? It's up to us to have the topic here, to have the date and the next discussion leader. I'm here, I served as an icebreaker, so the next is very easy. You can proceed from the lessons from today. What will be the next section? Do you want to focus on? Anyone? Because last time we said progress, March 14, Petros. What about next time? What issue, when, and who will be willing to take the leadership? It must be a female, yes, Marianne? When you come to, yeah, we said that last time. Anne, are you there? At least you can comment on the topic. Anne Gachuya. Are you listening? Sia? Yeah,
Yes,
Fasuluku.
I'm here. Yes, Petrus, I'm here.
You can comment us the topic of next session. You can suggest if there is something in mind that you are taking. Asma is also there. You can comment. Sakelekele, Zele, anyone.
No, well, for me, from my side, it would be really good for us to have like case studies of programs that have happened within the countries. It will also be good to look at because now we have some action plans. Or maybe if these action plans are just action plans, or are they going to be really implemented? Since I've not been here, I'm just coming here today. I don't know what the plan is. Is it just we are doing an assignment, or are these action plans that are meant to be implemented? And if they're going to be implemented, then what next? Where are we going to take them to? Because I think that these kind of communities of practice is here. It's meant for us to learn, and learning for me, I learn better by implementing things, by doing. So the question is now, are we going to be implementing these action plans? And if we are, then maybe it would be good for us to put some timelines to say, okay, I have done this, I've done that. Say in the case of my brother from the Gambia, maybe with some of these feedbacks we've given him, maybe tell us, oh, okay, I tried to reach out to somebody in the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary. This was the conversation I had. Let's start seeing some actions out of this action plan. For me, that's it. Like I said, my disclaimer is I'm just coming, I'm the new kid here. So please don't fault me if I go on the wrong arm. So that's my position. Thank you.
Thanks so much. If I understand, progress report, the same thing, or achievement report, is it? Marian, am I captured her ideas?
I think it was a really good question, Sia. Thank you for that. And I don't think you have to apologize at all for being new. I think it's great that we have new people joining. It shows that there's relevance to the space. It doesn't matter how many sessions that you've attended up till now, you're still most welcome. So the idea is that we are now, yes, indeed, working on these action plans to actually implement them. Everybody who's stuck around now with this part of the short course has planned out at least one action for themselves, something that they want to do to prioritize gender responsiveness, gender equity, and equality in their work for 2024 in their normal work agenda. So not having to take on like a huge extra load, but a manageable task that would show that they have understood what the key concepts of gender that we did last year, and a commitment to prioritize gender in their work. So some type of action. And as you saw, you saw a couple of different actions today that people are identifying. They're even as simple as having a meeting. That's in itself something that's important, just connecting people together to show what they have learned so far. That's the first step even. That could then turn into something more like a gender audit, like in the case of Petros. So yes, we are implementing these plans. The basis of this is that there are some case studies that we can draw from. I've gone to them in the folder. So we have a resource pack here. And in the resource pack, there are quite a few things that we interacted with in November and December of last year. So we looked at some country examples of programs. They're in this folder here. There's an example here from Uganda, the Gambia, South Sudan, etc. We have examples of programs in other countries where participants themselves in this space have shared an example of a program. And they've documented it. Let's look at Uganda, for example. They've documented it on this provided template. They've described a program that they think is successfully addressing gender inequalities or inequities in their countries. So here are examples of programs that are currently in place. Here's an example from Uganda, just showing one. And then in the other folders, we have instructional tools, and quite a few of them, there are case studies, like published case studies and articles from other countries. Let's take a look, for example, at this one, case study 1. This is an example of the FALWay, so Forum for African Women Educationalists. This is about the GRP, Gender Responsive Pedagogy, as a best practice by FALWay. And it's a couple of countries that was the basis of this. So these are, I guess, examples of case studies that you might want to look at. If you want help identifying a particular one, you could ask the group here, you could ask me if you don't want to go through all of them, but there are some things here that you might want to draw from. The link for this is a public link. It's called the resource pack, and I'm going to copy it again and share it in the WhatsApp, or the chat box here for you. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah, so
And Petros, feel free to fill in anything I might have missed.
it is correct. Case studies, we are there, the first questions. So now we are in the action plan, whether we are implementing or not, we are strengthening it. So we better talk on the progress and the next steps rather than going back to the case studies that we were looking at. They are in the resource pack, so we can refer them. Thank you so much, Sia, for your critical comments and points that you raised earlier. So what will be the topic of the next session then? Can you make the progress again or any other? It's up to the participants of this OP that bringing the topic of the next session is. Anyone can say something. Yes. Can we repeat the same topic or any other?
There's a hand up, Sekalekale.
Okay, yeah, welcome. Please.
Thank you, Petros.
Mhm.
My feeling is that since we are on the action plans, now we should follow the action plans and see how they go. Next time there will be other things that have been done, so we should follow up along the similar lines of what are the successes, what are the challenges, and what are the next steps if there are still next steps.
Success and challenge of the action plans.
Yes, or even the next steps if there are changes in the. For example, there may be a change of plan. So we would like to be updated on those.
Thank you so much. The success, the challenges, and next steps of the action plan. Is that sounds, Marianne? So can you write it, please?
Yes.
And then while she writes, when? Is March 26 okay for everyone here?
Which date did you say, Petros?
March 26, you said, yeah?
Oh, no, March 26th was the date. It was within an action plan, but we usually have to stick to Thursdays because Thursdays are better dates to meet in ministries. Usually Monday and Tuesday can be busy. So we have March 28th, that's 2 weeks from now, but it depends on how much time people need. We have to hear from the group. How much time do you need to complete some steps in your action plan? Do you want 2 weeks? Do you want 3 weeks?
I think 2 weeks is good if there's no opposition. If all agrees.
Well, from my side, I don't want to agree on any dates because those dates I'll be traveling. So it's like, and I'm going to be really like, in meetings like all throughout because I'm going for training. So, but I promise to work on a work plan and try to submit that one. And then even if I'm not part of a meeting, I could still be updating as to what activities I've taken with
Yeah,
regards
you
to
can, you
that.
can, yeah, you can propose a permanent time for you because you're
Oh,
present.
well,
And
I want it to be a bit democratic. So let me see what everybody's leaning towards, and then I'll
no, there are some
now say
families saying
something.
that you are the one overscheduled right now. So we agree with you if you propose one. Or
So
otherwise,
can we
some people,
say first week in April?
April
I don't
first
know if
week.
it's too far.
So that would
We
be
put
April
on
4th. That's a Thursday. Does that work for people?
April first week, yeah. When is that? April first week? Oh, good.
So this is the tentative proposed date, April 4th. That seems to be 3 weeks from now. Would that give everyone enough time to complete some action in their action plan, or else, you know, in some cases, maybe create an action plan and present it?
Mhm.
You know, the space is sustained by your actions. So hopefully by then, in 3 weeks, there'll be some more people who have updates to share. Because it's a community of practice. And feel free to if you have a question, or if you're not unable to do something because of needing more information, we can also work with you on your action plan before then, like maybe have a one-on-one with you. We can have a meeting maybe to discuss something if you want to have like a quick meeting before April 4th. But the next group meeting would be potentially April 4th. Does that work for everyone?
Good for me.
Who's speaking?
Okay, is that okay for everyone? I couldn't hear.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, for me it's fine.
So
okay.
if that's the case, who will be the next leader? Any willing? Anyone volunteer? We're looking for a volunteer for the next session.
If you tell me what has to be done, I wouldn't mind testing the waters on that one, Petrus.
All I am doing today.
Okay, then sign me up for that one.
Okay,
Thank you so much, blessed. Oh, you can write my name.
okay, Petros, I think, is that everything? Should we start closing the
Yeah.
meeting?
All the assignments are here. In here. Thank you for the opportunity, Maria. And thank you all for participating vigorously. Thank you so much. So over to you,
Thank you so
Marianne.
much, everyone. All right, goodbye, everyone. We'll see you on April 4th.
Okay. Happy Easter in advance. Happy Easter, everybody.
Thanks so much. Thanks so